Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my full review on the Brianbrownknives Raptor version 1. Absolutely in love with this, so spoiler alert. But first, I just want to quickly give a shout out to Issuing Stitches, Handmade Goods Co. Awesome company. They're pretty new to the Hank game as far as I can tell. And I recently got some of their their Hanks in from a giveaway for the Knives Live 2021. Jared Neve sent them over that Issuing Stitches had sent him. And that triggered me to reach out to them because these are some of the nicest Hanks that I've handled. And I wanted to just see if I could get some to check out and give away. So I had given away some already, and I've been carrying a few of these and doing pocket dumps and whatnot with them, and cleaning my glasses and phone and stuff a lot with these. And they're amazing. Not only does he have these awesome Star Wars patterns, there's a bunch of them. He's got some new ones with the Office type patterns, Simpsons, other just, sort of random stuff, and uses this awesome microfiber. You can see I use this a lot. So I just wanted to give a shout out. Go check out Issuing Stitches on Instagram or on Etsy. They have an Etsy store. You can buy all their stuff. Their Hanks are like $12 to $14 for these awesome Hanks with microfiber. That alone is a good reason to go check them out, because a lot of these companies that I really like Renegade Provisions Co., I love their Hanks. They're like 25 bucks, and they're worth the 25 bucks. But if you have a smaller budget, or you want to just pick up multiple or something, check out Issuing Stitches, guys. So anyway, let's talk about the Brianbrownknives Raptor. So I have had this knife for about a week, and no, it's been more than a week. So hard to explain. So I did the unboxing. I had the one with the holes. I traded that one that day or the next day for this one. So I've had one for a couple weeks, technically, I think, but I've had this specific one for about a week and a couple days. But it has not left my pocket since the moment it came out of the box. Well, I did the first impressions. I didn't put it in my pocket for that. I'm funny. But it's just been an absolute beast. It's been a pleasure to carry. There are downsides to it, and I'll get into that. But overall, if you want to know the quick synopsis here, it's a fantastic knife, and I totally recommend it to anybody. So anyway, this is Brian Brown's second, well, no, I guess it's his third production model. He did the Jaeger, and then he did the Jaeger with Riot, because I think he did it with Wii first. Then he had this pre-order, and he had the pre-order for the, I forget what it's called, the Butcher, maybe? The little fixed blade. I'm not sure which one of those came first. And then now he actually has a another little folder, chubby little folder Tuya made. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, it's called the Dutchman, I think. I'm not really interested in that one, but he's done a few production knives now, and he's doing pretty well with it. So that's awesome. And yeah, so anyway, let's get into this bad boy. Materials wise, we got titanium, we have M390. Of course, you got to have your M390 on your knives these days. It just seems like all these guys doing these production runs through Riot tend to use M390. LMAX is another option I see less often, but I truly enjoy LMAX, maybe even more than M390, even though you probably would say M390 is better. I get, just like everybody, I get a little M390'd out. Doesn't mean I don't love the steel. I do. I prefer it over a lot of steels. But I do like seeing LMAX occasionally. I would love to see the rise of VanX. If that ever happens, I'm going to be a very happy man. If I start seeing things like this just show up in VanX, that would just be amazing. It's just, to me, it's the perfect EDC knife steel. Just does everything you need an EDC steel to do. I don't need mag to cut. I'm not chopping trees down, right? Anyway, I've had that argument before. So, good materials. You have anodized titanium thumb studs, pivot collars, and backspacer. of course. You have nice milling inside here. This one's actually lighter than the one with the speed holes. I guess that's because there's milling on both sides. I don't know if the milling was on this side, on the lock side, on the other one I had with the speed holes, but the speed holes was the only milling on that one, and I guess somehow this accounts for more weight relief than just the holes. So I think that's interesting. Anything else I want to note before I dive into like aesthetics, all that stuff? Oh, the version with the speed holes I had, I would not recommend that for a lefty, just because like I get the look and I understand people like speed holes, and it's not my thing, but I understand it, right? So I'm not going to sit here and hate on it or anything. But as a lefty, when I went to disengage that knife, my pinky literally went into the bottom hole, which was the biggest hole that could actually fit a finger. And it would literally rest inside the hole. As I was closing the knife, my pinky's in there. And if I accidentally left my pinky in there, it would have taken the tip off. And I'm not kidding, to where like it was my natural reaction as I'm closing the knife to just have my pinky in that hole. That's just where my pinky lands. So I just don't recommend that to a lefty unless you know, maybe you unlock knives differently, or you have a giant hand or a tiny hand. I don't know. You could test it out, but you know, I don't think that's worth it. I would just get a full tie type one. To a righty, that doesn't matter, because when you're disengaging, you're over here. You're not on the front, so it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so aesthetics. I think this thing is fucking gorgeous. It just is. It's one of those knives that you look at and you go, God damn it, he drew a sexy knife. I mean, I think it's better looking than the Jaeger, and I know a lot of people love the Jaeger. I have two on pre-order. I'm still not sure if I'm going to like that knife. I had one. If you've been with the channel long enough, you've probably seen it. And I sold it immediately. So, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to try it again. And I got one with a flipper and one without this time. But, yeah, I just think this one's sexier somehow. I love the thinned out handle. So I gotta say, I am a fan of that look aesthetically, but normally I'm not a fan of the thin handle in hand, right? So we'll get into ergos in a second. I love the sort of double poon. You got a nice poon spoon right here, and then you kind of swell down to a tip. It's kind of a clip point, I guess. You know, I would initially probably call this a harpoon, right? But it's kind of clip pointy as well, drop pointy. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but it's more a clip point poon, right? Clip poon. Let's call it a clip poon. But yeah, so I just love the look of it. The clip, I love his clip. It actually goes in pocket really well for me. I carry this in my back left pocket, and it rides so well. Another reason I've been carrying it like crazy, because it just folds up, tucks away into the corner of your pocket. Like, it just disappears. It's super thin. I don't have many knives here. My case is in another room right now because I was doing a live, but I have this Reverie here I plan on doing a review on, and you can see the Concept Reverie is about the same thickness as the Raptor here. It might be a little thinner because it doesn't have a blade sticking out of the handle, but I'd say the handle on this is thinner, and then, you know, so it kind of balances out. It's still a little thinner, I'd say, but not by much. And this is a super thin knife. So, sorry if you hear fireworks. It's New Year's Eve, actually, for me right now. So, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful 2022. I hope if you had hardships in 2021, that your 2022 goes much more smoothly. I kind of had ups and downs, so 2021 was okay. We just got sick a lot, and I'm sick right now. It might actually be the COVID again, but you know, whatever. So yeah, let's talk the blade, right? Again, we're talking about aesthetic. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The hollow grind on this is absolutely just fantastic. I have adored this hollow grind. The belt satin finish by Ria, nailed, right? Okay, so aesthetic, ergos, my bad. In this grip back here, large glove size hand, in this grip back here, I can fit all four comfortably. Pinky kind of lands on this flat, or I can kind of try to tuck it up, you know, right next to the ring finger there. And then my thumb lands into the spoon, right? And I do have a good grip here. I have good control. I can cut very well like this. It's not too thin. I know it kind of looks too thin. And if you really bear down, yes, it does become a little bit of a hot spot back here. I feel sort of my fingers like, you know, just it hurts a little bit. It's kind of hot spotty. It doesn't hurt. It's hot spotty. And I think if I were to go through like really tough cuts, which I really don't do, then I would feel it. So maybe not the best hard use knife, right? But you have this flat up here that kind of goes up into a sort of choil. So you have this whole area up here. And what I do is I climb up there. Then I still have this spot right here to land, or you can slide up here, but I like sitting back here. And now the thinnest part is kind of out of the way, sort of. And I have just a lot more control. And when I really bear down, like I'm squeezing really hard right now, I'm not feeling that pressure like I was before. So you could really get some controlled and deep cuts. You're just not going to, I guess you're not going to get the leverage you might get if you had this whole, you know, length behind it. You're more, you know, choked up like that. But I think it works fantastically ergonomically. For my needs, it's fantastic. For a pinch grip, I climb up like this, bing, 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 bang, cut my labels out. This thing's a label cutting beast. I don't get the best pressure down, like, so I'm not cutting through a shit ton of labels at once, but it has a great tip. Nice tip. It's pretty robust. I mean, it does not thin out all that much. You can see it kind of tapers down and then bows back out. I kind of like that. But I can climb up here and I get to that tip. It works really well. I actually did flip this one over a couple times, and I'll use it upside down to cut my labels because it kind of turns into a warnie if I flip it over. You just have to be careful, obviously, but I'm just cutting paper. So I can flip it over and kind of get a warnie now, and I get that tip right there instead of having to hold it like this and get angled up more. But you can sort of on labels, you can kind of cheat a little bit, use a little belly if you need to, but you got to start the cut with the tip. Anyway, so that's ergos and I would say cutting. I mean, cutting's fantastic with this thing. This hollow grind is super thin. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's got a thin grind on it. Comes down to a great edge. I put this up with I had the Berg Barber in for a little bit. I did sell that yesterday to fund something else, and because the clip just, man, getting it out of pocket, I had to literally lift the clip off my jeans to get it out. That's how bad it would catch. So I couldn't, like, there was no reason for me to have it anymore because I couldn't carry it. If I can't carry a knife, I'm not going to use a knife, right? And if I'm not going to use it or carry it, then I don't need the knife. You know, it doesn't matter how bougie it is. I carry and use them all. So I don't do heavy use stuff, right? But I do cut things and I need a knife, and I'll use whatever's in my pocket. It doesn't matter. But if I can't carry you because I got to use a finger to hook under the clip to get it out, it's just not going to work. But the edge, the blade on that Barber from Berg Blades was excellent. Also had a ridiculous hollow grind. It had a pretty thick stock too, but it came down to a thin edge and it sliced like a beast. And this thing matched it, man. It was just as good, if not better, when I was kind of testing that. Of course, I'm testing them with paper and whatever shit a lot of you guys don't think is, you know, worthy. But hold on, let me get a sip of my tea here. Got my peppermint tea from Poland. It's really good. Oh, yeah, that's money, man. That stuff is money. My mom got it from some Russian market or something in Philly. Dead centered on this guy. All right, so we talked cutting. We talked aesthetics. We talked ergos, right? Carry, I kind of talked about as well, didn't I? This clip is amazing. It rides in pocket amazing. It really is fantastic. I believe it's the same clip on the Jaeger, if I'm not mistaken. So I kind of wanted to try to get a custom clip made. Maybe that's a little longer so that I could maybe get an easier reverse flick, because my hand kind of lands here, which does work most of the time, but it does stiffen that detent up a bit. I'd like to just be able to pop it like that. I've managed to find ways to get it to work, obviously. But anyway, the clip is phenomenal. The weight is good. It doesn't like tilt in your pocket. It's always nice and tucked. And I just grip and rip. It comes right out. I've never worried about it falling out or anything like that. It's ridden in pockets so well that I keep wanting to put it in there. All right, sounds. Awesome. Sounds are great. You know, they're not like the greatest sounds ever on a knife, but they are very good. I would put them up there at like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Just very satisfying to me. I think that's because of the milling and the action. I don't know. It's just good. What do you want me to say? All right. Action. So the detent on this is not the strongest, I will say. I think I could fail it if I tried. Oh. There, I failed it. But, like, I tried to fail it, you know. So, if you try at all to just flick it, it flicks, right? And most of us are going to try to give it a little black out, right? It really does come out with a authority there. Left-handed, right-handed, doesn't matter. You can put some pressure on that lock bar right-handed. It does not seize up. I mean, it probably would if you, like, really pushed down on the lock bar. I mean, even then it didn't. So I think the detent is dialed. Right-handed reverse flick is perfect. I mean, it literally just line it up, get a little bit in your palm, get your finger under the stud, push, bang, it flies up, right? Left-handed reverse flick is tougher, obviously. You can't just put your finger here where you want to. And, like, that really was a lot of effort. I didn't think that was coming out. So I guess I can do that. But it's going to tear up my finger if I keep doing that. But look, you can do it. You can also, I try to climb down here a little bit. It's just harder to get the angle, get it palmed and everything. So you end up getting a kind of a lazy flick. You can also just kind of ride up near the pivot and, you know, try to chuck it out a little bit. You can also do the wrister. So, I mean, there's ways to do it. I just kind of get down here, and it's a lot easier when I'm standing and I'm not, like, doing it straight vertical, you know, I'm like at my side. I just kind of do it and it works. But looks like you can just do it wherever you want. So, depending on the knife, the one I had with the Speedos, I think the detent was a little stronger. So it's going to vary a little bit, which is interesting, it being Riot, but it's not, again, that's the thing I like about Riot is it's not varying to the point where it's unacceptable. You know what I mean? Like, this detent, I really like the detent on this one. And the other one I had I thought was pretty good, too. This one's probably better for me being left-handed because I can get the reverse flick easier having it be slightly lighter. So, to each their own, obviously. The closing action, this is where we get to talk about a couple negatives. Let me get some more of this tea. Sorry about that, by the way. I know I sound like a fucking BFG over here. And that's a reference to a giant in a kid's movie, not something weird. Okay, closing action. I really enjoy it. Here's your lockup, by the way. I think it's perfect. You're not getting any, you know, movement or anything. There's no stick. So she'll drop, right? You push that lock bar over. She's coming down on you, right? Nice and easy. One thing I really appreciate about this knife, and I'm starting to appreciate about knives, is when they don't have a sharp-ass corner sticking out right here. Like the Chavez, the Barber, that was another reason I needed to move. The Evo has it, and, you know, so I'm a hypocrite there, but that knife is just so good. But, like, when you push that lock bar and let it drop, because I like doing that. That's satisfying to me doing this. And if it has just this sharp corner sitting there that just comes down right, like the corner of the edge, just bang. That's how this happened to my nail. Under there is a crack in my nail and a wound. Like, literally bleeds every time it gets hit now. That's why I have shit on my nails and I have super glue on it, just to protect myself from that, because I just enjoy doing that. So I'd rather have shitty looking nails and be able to do it. But anyway, I appreciate that this knife, there's nothing like that. It'll just drop to your nail. I mean, as long as it doesn't hit skin, it's not going to cut anything. And it's hitting on, you know, a flat surface all at once. It's going to, you know, spread the pressure out a little bit. It's not going to hurt as much, right? Or at all. Like, I barely feel it. Also, you can just do this. You know, I'm not even getting hit by a blade there. And then from there, it's a very, very smooth action. It's not drop shut, but it's close. You know, it's a shaker, that's for sure. But it's close. Now, if you want to lefty it, you just disengage. It passes that detent almost instantly, like right here. Right? It's right here. And I'm pretty sure there's a detent ball ramp. I mean, it's close to being a detent ball ramp if it isn't one. It's not a hard break. It's pretty smooth. And then, I mean, it's very, very smooth. Left hand, I do this. I like to hold the pivot and kind of just watch it drop, shake it a little bit if I need to, or give it that one. I really enjoy the closing action on this knife. Now, a negative. It's a spinning pivot with tooling on one side. And I've talked about this in other videos, but I got to rehash it here. Brian Brown didn't mean to have that happen. It was a miscommunication, I believe, with him and Riot. So, I actually did try to take this apart. I know I said I was going to wait till after the review, but I had it long enough to do the review. And the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to get it apart. I want to see if I put skiffs in here, if it does turn into a guillotine, right? Why not? So I go, and luckily, before that, I had no play. I still have no play, right? Like, I mean, I could feel something, but, I mean, it's nothing, right? So I go to unscrew it, because somebody told me theirs just came right out, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'll just try it. So I go to unscrew it, and I can feel this side spinning. And I'm putting pressure on it. I put it at 90 degrees. I put a little pressure on the blade. You know, I'm doing all the things. And it's just spinning over here. I can just feel it spinning. And I'm like, oh, crap. Because if that loosens even a tiny bit, right, then I'm going to get play. But then I can't get it all the way out. It's just a nightmare when that happens. And then you can't retighten it. I've just had some bad things happen. Luckily, even after spinning it a million times, like, I tried for like 2 minutes, and then I was like, Kev, be careful. So then I checked, and I was like, is there play? No. Action's still the way it was. Maybe a hair better. Let's just leave it. So that's what I did. I just left it alone. It's dead center, no play. Action's fantastic, right? Obviously, I wish that there was tooling over here. I think it looks good like this, obviously. But I'd much prefer be able to get into my knife, or have it had been captive so that I could get this screw out, like one of the two. Because my concern now is when I need to maintain this knife, I can't, right? I'm going to have to blow canned air in there and dick with it, right? I'm not going to be able to just take it apart. I'm not going to be able to swap bearings, at least not easily. I'm sure I could heat this up and fuck with it and do all that stuff, but you know, I just want to be able to take my goddamn knife apart. So it does suck. That's a big negative to me, honestly. It's kind of a big oversight. I love Brian Brown. I think the guy's amazing. But that's an oversight. And I don't know if it was on his end or theirs. Like, he may have perfectly specified, give me a captive pivot, and they didn't do it. That's on them. But I'm just saying, it was for sure an oversight on somebody's level that this has that type of pivot. Because that's like how the Evo is. Luckily, I got that apart and I put a O-ring in it. So that works great on the Evo. I'd have to get the right size O-ring for this and hope it has the right style of pivot. It'll work, but I'm just not going to mess with it until I need to. And hopefully by then it'll just dry out or something, and the Loctite will come apart. I don't know. I can always heat it up. I just didn't feel like doing that. You can also, what is up with the lighting? You can also, or exposure, you can also walk it out. You can kind of just grab it anywhere and walk it out. You can thumb it out. The detent's really dialed for that. So, I mean, there's just a lot of ways to fidget and manipulate this knife, and it's just fun. It's one of those knives that you just sit on the couch and you do this over and over. I watched the whole movie. It was called The Last Duel. Great movie, by the way. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and the guy who plays the guy who plays the bad guy in the new Star Wars movie, the Ben Kenobi, the Ben Solo, that guy. The guy who plays him. Why can't I remember his name from him? Kylo Ren or something? Kylo Ren. There you go. That guy's in it. Fantastic movie, Last Duel. Check it out. But yeah, just played with it the whole time. Was like just fidgeting and loving it. My fingers never hurt. Nothing ever hurt. That's important because there are knives where you fidget with them for a while and something hurts. Like it's hurting your thumb from the flick or the finger from the flick, or disengaging hurts your nail, or dropping it on your nail hurts, or whatever. This thing is just endless fun and fuckery, and it's awesome. So overall, you have a couple of negatives, right? You have that spinning pivot. That's a big one for me. You have that really tight, if you squeeze down real hard in this back grip, for me, it becomes a bit of a hot spot. Not an issue for me, obviously, but for some people. You have the speed holes for a lefty is kind of, awkward. And that's really it for negatives, man. The positives are just off the charts. I love the ergos up in this choked up grip. I love the poon. I love the action so much. I love the way the blade is finished. I love the grind. The hollow is excellent. I love the way it cuts. And the aesthetics are just off the charts gorgeous. So that's the Brianbrownknives Raptor version 1, guys. I think 27 or 28 minutes covers it. Sorry for the long rant. I really love this knife. It spent more than a week in my pocket nonstop. That just doesn't happen, guys. It really doesn't. Ironically, the last knife to do it was the CKF Satori 2.0, which this went in pocket right when I got it. I took that one out, and that one had been in pocket for a week, and I had to loan that out just to not want to carry it. So NAF Sergeant has that one right now. Go check out his channel. Yeah, so I love it. I love it. I love it. Brianbrownknives Raptor. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. I love you all so much. Truly do. Hope you have a happy new year, and I will catch you later.